I'm going to talk about the United States, Russia, and um, Great Britain in the Bible. And if you look at the passage, it looks exactly like how you would describe these nations if you were to describe these nations using animal symbols. Now, the passage I'm going to be drawing from is Daniel 7. In this video, I'm going to talk about why this is those nations. In the next video, I'm going to talk about why it's not what is traditionally taught as Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome, and the revived Roman Empire or something like that. So I'm going to talk about why it isn't the traditional interpretation next video, but this video I'm going to just more so talk about why it looks to me like it's the United States, Russia, and Great Britain. So are clearly talked about in this chapter. Now, as far as what the last beast symbolizes in the chapter, I don't really know. I mean, I know that symbolized nature, but I don't know what's that going to constitute because it doesn't exist yet. But that's a conversation for really another day. But two of the I'm gonna just start reading. So, anyways, this is based on people who I've heard talked about this before. It's Irvin Baxter and Stan Johnson. They both have different interpretations in this chapter for various beasts, and I have different interpretations from them on various beasts. But I do align with them on certain things, certain aspects of certain beasts in this chapter. So let's just start from the beginning of Daniel chapter 7. In the next video, I'll talk about why it's not talked about who is traditionally talked about. I'm going to get more into that. So anyways, the first year, so in the first year of King of Babylon, so this takes place in the first year of Belshazzar, the king of Babylon. So this takes place during the time of Babylon. Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed, and he wrote the dream and told it to the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw a vision by night, and behold, there were 4 winds of the heaven that strive for the great sea. And the 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse from one another. So each beast was diverse from one another. The first one was like a lion, and he had eagle's wings, and behold, the eagle's wings were plucked and lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and his heart was given, and a man's heart was given unto it. And behold, another beast, a second like a bear, and it was raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth between and in the mouth of it between its teeth of it, and it is said unto it, arise and devour much flesh. And then the next beast, it says, after this I saw another like a leopard, which upon him is backed by 4 wings, and the beast had 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. And after this I saw in the night the visions, there was a 4th beast, a dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had iron teeth, and it devoured and breaking into pieces and stamped the residue with its feet, and it was diverse from all the other beasts before it. So this beast was different than all the other beasts before it, and it had 10 horns. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came amongst them a little horn, and before there were 3 horns, and it was plucked up by the roots. And behold, the horn had eyes and of a man, and the mouth spake great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. I'm on verse 9. I started from verse 1. Whose garment was white as snow, and his hair was pure wool, and his throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels were burning with fire. Okay, so let me read that one more time. Behold, I beheld thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit. So it's talking about Jesus, the Ancient of Days, whose garment was as white as snow, and his hair was and head was like wool, and his throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels was burning. All right, this is Jesus, verse 9. The fiery stream issued, came forth before him, and thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000s of 10,000 stood before him, and the judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then, because the voice was of great words, a horn spake. I beheld till the beast was slain, until the beast was slain, and destroyed and given into the burning fire. So it's talking about the last beast. And then concerning the rest of the beast, their dominion was taken away, yet their lives in prolonged but their lives were prolonged for a season at a time. So there's three conditions of the beast. There was alive, there was dead, and there was alive. It was alive with authority, it was alive without authority, and there was being dead. Okay? So just because you have no authority doesn't mean you're dead, and just because you're alive doesn't mean you have authority. But if you're dead, you have neither. Now, when it talks about what these beasts symbolize, it says in verse 17, it says, "These great beasts are four kings which shall arise out of the earth." And then if you read, so talk about these are leaders that will rise out of the earth. And then he says, "Thus the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom on the earth." And if you read verse 23, of this chapter, it says, thus he said, "The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, and he shall be diverse, which shall be diverse from all the kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and it shall tread it down and break into pieces." So beast stands for kings and kingdoms. It has a dual meaning for the leader and the leader of the country and the country itself. Now, where is the United States in this? Where is Russia in this? So let's just go back to so for one, let me point out in verse 12, we see that these beasts were around during the time that the Lord would come. So they're end time beasts. And they were after the last beast was slain, these beasts still remained alive and around after that. The beasts themselves. Okay, so these represent kingdoms that are around now, that will be around during the time that Jesus comes. All right, this is one of the reasons why I don't believe it's Babylon, because they said the first beast is Babylon. It's not Babylon. It's not Babylon because Babylon doesn't exist today. Neither does Medo-Persia. If you look, because the first beast of the lion, they say it's Babylon, and then the bear, they say, is Medo-Persia. But in the next chapter, it gives a totally different symbol for the bear, which is for the Medo-Persia, which is a ram with two horns, and the two horns was broken, the two horns were broken, and then the he-goat trampled upon it. Let me just read that right fast. If I can just pull that up. So I saw the close ram. He moved closer against them and smote the ram and brake the two horns and stand before him and cast him down and stamped under him, and none should deliver him. Medo-Persia doesn't really exist anymore. Neither does Babylon. Neither one of these exists. And these nations are supposed to be nations that will exist at the time of Jesus coming. That's one. And number two, it talks about, if you look at how it describes this beast when it gives the interpretation of the beast in Daniel, it says, in 17 it says, "These beasts are four kings that shall arise," which seems to me that they haven't arisen yet at the time of this vision. So Babylon was already around, so it seems like it's a future thing outside of Babylon. And Babylon doesn't exist anymore, so how can it be Babylon if Babylon is it's something that exists in the future, and it's going to remain during the time of Jesus coming. So the lion is not Babylon. All right, but that's just a little part of it. I'll get into it more next time, but that just seems to eliminate it for me. Now, when you saw the first beast, the second beast, which is the second was like a bear and raised on his side, and 3 ribs with his mouth was between the teeth, and they said, Thus said unto it, rise and devour much flesh. Now, thus saith the rise. Now, if you know anything about Russia, its animal symbol is a bear. All right, its animal symbol is a bear. That's how we describe Russia, as the Russian bear. That's how it's described by other people, often as the Russian bear. If you look up the Russian bear, you'll probably find something on Google on it, because that's how it's commonly described, as the Russian bear. I've heard of it recently. Okay, and one thing about Russia, it says, rise and devour much flesh. Russia is known to kill, as if you know anything about Russian history, you know that it's killed a lot of its own people. I don't know how many people of other nations it's killed, but I know it's killed a lot of its own people through communism. And, you know, as in the millions, tens of millions of people. Okay. So that seems like it describes Russia too. And Russia's not a random nation. It has very strong, is very influential in the world scheme. It's not a random nation at all. And then if you read the beast before it, if you read that, it says the first was like a lion, and it had eagle's wings, until the eagle's wings was plucked, and it was lifted up from earth, and it was standing on his feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto him. One of the animal symbols for England is what? Great Britain is a lion, and the U.S. animal symbol is an eagle. That's just not even, being from the U.S. It's just non-disputable. It's the American eagle. Okay, now you have this lion with eagle's wings, and then the eagle's wings was plucked. That's the United States separating from that. That's not. We know that basic part of American history, that the United States were one, and then they became separate due to the Declaration of Independence. It looks exactly like that. That's exactly what it looks like. Even if you be like, well, it could be anything, and I'll get into that objection in the next video. You can't say it doesn't look like that. It looks exactly like that. That looks like Great Britain and United States separating. And I want to read something in Revelations chapter 13 that I found was interesting. Irvin Baxter pointed this out in one of his older videos. He didn't say this in one of the recent videos that I saw of him. He recently passed away. You know, he's in a better place now. But if you read the description of the beast in Revelations, it says, Revelations 13. Now, the beast of Revelation of 13 is a person. It's not a nation. But if you just read the description, but normally if you read the description of the person, you probably get an idea of what they're a leader of. But as far as beast is concerned, due to what is said in Daniel chapter 7, but the beast of Revelation 13 are people. One is a false prophet, and one is the political leader. Now, this is the description of the political leader. It says, the beast which I saw was unto a leopard, His feet was as a bear. His feet was as a bear. The mouth was the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and great authority. Now, he didn't have any kind of wings. He didn't have the wings that the leopard had. He didn't have the eagle's wings that the lion had. Okay, but he had the feet of a bear. He was as a leopard, and he had the mouth of a lion, and he also had 10 horns. Okay, I didn't really get that far in this description, but so he seemed like a combination of all four beasts in Daniel. But notice he had the mouth of a lion. What do you do with your mouth? You speak. Now, you can speak, bite, spit, or vomit, which is the same thing, which is another version of the same thing, and breathe. Normally, the Bible talks about breath as the breath of his nostrils, not the breath from your mouth. Okay, and when it talks about you using your teeth, it talks about when you're biting or eating. It talks about it describes the teeth. Okay, but in this instance, it just describes the mouth, and you use your mouth to speak. And notice it had the mouth of a lion. If you look at the international language of the world, the language that spoke amongst the most of the people of Earth is it's English. It's called English. It's not called. I mean, maybe it's American English, but it's called English. It's from England, and like the second and third most languages I looked it up was the language in China, and then the next one was the language from India, and those are the two highest populated countries in the earth. But the thing about it, those languages are mostly localized, kind of like Japanese and Korean and things of that nature. but the United States, but I'm sorry, but the English is spoken throughout the world. And you notice he had the mouth of a lion. So in order to be a world leader, you the most effective world leader, you're gonna probably want to speak English because you'll hit you hit the language that around the world that most people know. So I just thought that was interesting to me. That's not that last part was just something. It was just an added bonus. Maybe you could do something with that. Maybe you don't. But I just found that very interesting, and it looks like the United States in the Bible: United States, Russia, and Great Britain. Now, what does the leopard represent? Well, the leopard is. I'm not. I think the leopard represents Germany, and I'll talk about that in the next video. In the last beast, it represents something that hasn't come up yet. That's what I honestly believe. But thanks for your time. The next video I will talk about why these beasts aren't from the traditional interpretation of this chapter, because I think this is important to address, and I don't think it's been addressed enough thoroughly in the past. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.